The transactions modes, they are actually four. We saw them. Those are the basic transactions modes. We stopped at the mass and the non-mass transactions. As we said that they are features actually enhancing the context of the patch scoped commitment or patch scoped mode, which is a context of committing or rolling back transactions accordingly. We define what technology we see is actually the safe point across or within a transaction life cycle. One transaction, I may say life cycle, because do not expect that we are going to see a common standard or style for all transactions. No, we have the auto commit transactions, which are made up of one query, which is automatically set by the and decided to be committed by the environment, the project in question. One query based transactions. A simple one query, select or insert or update or any transaction made up of one single query. It has a mode which is the auto commit. This is the one here. Yes. This way actually we define the scoped transactions. We said that the batch scoped transactions, they are enhanced due to the multi, let's say, commands based transaction. We have two or three or more commands within the same transaction. So via which we have to talk actually about a specific syntax. And here actually the example I'm presenting to you, just let's talk about this example itself. We are seeing two commands sent and transmitted to, let's say, a process, a thread. Let me come back to the beginning of this transaction. Yes, here it is. We are using the .NET technology via which we are enhancing the Microsoft, we are standard on a Microsoft environment to set up a connectivity in between a front end and a back end technology. I knew this, why? Because of this SQL command. I'm passing, this transaction is passing command number one, CMD1, is user defined. It has a connection and it has a list of queries to do, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. This is CMD1. Then after, a second command, here it is, CMD2. It has other things to do, whatever they are. So at the end of the day, we have transaction 1 and we have transaction 2. Two transactions. This way here, we are populating different controls. I say controls, but why? Because we are within the .NET technology. We are not able to roll back the transaction 1 from the transaction 2, from within the body of the transaction 2, or from within the command 2, or the vice versa. We will not be able to commit or roll back command 2 transaction from within the body of the command 1 transaction. So it's not feasible. Technically, will put us in a critical situation if we try to do. Thus, a mass transaction means multi-active result set transaction base. In like this scenario, the CMD1 here has to have its results to finalize. And the same way, CMD2 has to have its own results to set, which are completely separate. We have a command one, let's say, block of queries to do, and the CMD2 block of its queries to do also. They completely isolated one from each other. We may use the word isolated, while the word isolation or isolated, being isolated, is a sensitive word in our context, database security. Thus, we have to finalize the full body transaction we started at the beginning from within yes, the process that started by declaring the variables. We have to finalize it once for all at the end. Here, run. Either we commit or we roll back. Sorry, come on. Here, the mode does not mean that we have to commit. No, commit or roll back. Commitment to admit the changes and the realizations. Roll back to cancel. Both of them, they are the mode termination. They are not restricted. This is the accepted mode, and it is not. No. And actually, the commitment or the rollback, both of them, they are one mode, let's say. I may say. You have to understand that, for example, the implicit mode or the explicit mode, because they are the main engine of the modes, the implicit and the explicit, they are not standing on the commit only or the rollback only. No. We may find implicit commit, implicit rollback. We may find explicit commit and explicit rollback. Is it clear? Is it clear? Aya, is it clear? Don't send messages. Speak, please.
Yes.
Because I'm not seeing your video. That's good. That's good. If you have any questions, you can interrupt me immediately. Okay, that's good. That's good. Let's continue. Remember that exception handling is one of the in our view here in the database security environment, it is one of the security measures to avoid, let's say, process interruption or error raise up when running the program. The exception handling is one of the security measures also that we have to talk about. Here we are seeing through the try catch blocks. We are executing a block, but if any exception, any runtime error happens, the catch block would be executed, and the program will continue running. It will not fail. It will not cause an error raise up. Alhamdulillah. Sorry. So the last section in this unit is the isolation level of the transactions in general. Like we saw the modes, we are having isolations. I was just now using the word isolation. It's a sensitive word in our context here in the database security or in the digital security. And the word isolation is a sensitive word in the sense of it has a meaning, and we have to stress on. So we have actually a list of isolation modes that we can present, we can discuss, we can set from within a body of a project or a solution or whatever. In all cases, there is a definition that we have to present behind the isolation levels. Remember that we are passing a transaction, and the transaction has to be executed as expected. Otherwise, we would not have set a transaction. We just pass queries. Remember, we are dealing with this with a database engine, DBMS, and we are manipulating data. Do not forget that. You, as a database security specialist, you are not implementing the database, but you are securing the in-out flow, the inflow and the outflow. Both of them you are securing. You are not a database, you are not setting up an architecture, but you have to understand the full scenario. I will not come back to define the transactions and the need of the transactions. Transactions in plural have an isolation level. Those isolation levels, they are actually so those isolations level, we see an example just in a while. And just to make you understand what is the isolation we talk about here, it's not to isolate the database nor the transaction itself. Yet, it is another view to guarantee that the asset properties we defined at the beginning of this unit, they are fully respected. Means the atomicity, the consistency, the isolation, and the durability, they are fully respected. In the WW in the example like zero wave, now every one from us is available and across the world, across the globe, and all of us we are able to access the radio wave at the same time. And all of us we can request queries and services through the radio wave. Thus, I can give the example of the registration because there are multi-tasks to do within the registration, selecting the courses, submitting requests, canceling, denying, modifying, and so on. It's a group of queries to pass at the same time. Student number one has chosen, let's say, 4 courses. Student number 2 choosing 3D courses. Student number 10 choosing 5 courses. So the same function has been requested by different students at the same time. Can you imagine what would be the problem? I'm asking you a question. Based on the situation I explained to you. What would be the issue? You as a database security specialist, what is the issue you suspect? I need an answer. Can you answer, please? Are you with me?
Again?
Again, please, you be with me. Take the example of anyway, our system, our E environment within our university. the eddy wave, and during the registration period, there is a function of, let's say, cost selection and cost timetable setup. Every student at the same period has to have the chance to choose courses and submit them to his advisor for approval. The same period, technically what happens, the eddy wave has to give the chance to the student to choose courses, to select appropriate exact courses and submit them to the advisor. The advisor has to see all the courses, accept or refuse or whatever, and he submit the result to the decision to the student back. Those events might happen within a few seconds, immediately in lifetime. Okay, how many students we are having the same period doing the same process? How many? We have many. The way works fine. But you as DB security student, what is the issue or in plural, issues you suspect? Can you answer? What is or what are the issues?
Maybe weak access.
Tell me back.
Weak access to the website.
Weak access. You talk about the delay. Yes?
Yes.
No, the delay is not a database issue. The delay is a bandwidth issue, and it's a server management or server process capability, domain capability. It's not a database. معنى الإشكالية, the delay, الوقت, the time problem we face usually during the registration period, it's not related to the database. It is related to the bandwidth or the load balancing process or the server side. It's not database. Good notes area, but it's not related to database. What are the other issues you may face? Any other suggestions, please? Can you? Please, hurry up. No fires. Good. Very briefly, we discussed this actually in an early age, and you have to have a knowledge about this. And this is actually common sense. The asset properties, they are telling us that the atomicity is one of the very primordial features that the transaction has to draw. What does it mean? Group of queries belong to the same transaction. They have to be either executed altogether or failing altogether. When I say that numerous requests of submitting a list of selected courses to an advisor, one advisor, is there any chance to interrupt one transaction to interrupt another? This is one issue. Absolutely, yes, there is a chance. So the isolation comes in question. Yeah, because all of the students, they are using the same entity from the database. There might be actually an inference somehow because of there are numerous reasons to cause the inference. It has to be isolated. Each transaction has to be isolated fully. The isolation here, it is an extra value, another value beyond the asset. So we are having different isolation levels. Immediately, I'll explain one of the very common serializable, let's say, isolation level. It is the serializable, the last one we see in this table here. Actually, we have some view modes of a transaction via which we set up the property of the isolation level. Just I'll explain this isolation level, and then after I'll leave you the chance to read and raise up any questions if you have later on in future times. The serializable, let's say, isolation level, it's a context via which, as per let's say, the literal definition of the serializable word, we are passing transactions in a series mode, in a way that first in, first out context. It's a data structure view via which we pass transaction after the other. No inference to be accepted. Whatever the priority level is raised by a transaction, there will be no inference. Means a transaction was inferred, it has to fail. We will not accept a transaction to be inferred by another. There are other situations caused by system failure. In some situations, shortcut or electrical shortcut or something similar. We may consider that cases, but the serializable of the isolation modes, they do not talk about the system causes, but the environment causes. They are talking about the issues caused by other transactions. Full stop. So in WW environment, I'm sorry, alhamdulillah. The isolations discussed here, they are limited to the list of transactions running within the same environment. 1,000 transactions, they have to be executed at the same time. What is the solution? So we have to talk about not serialization, but isolation level. This isolation level, actually, it has to be decided by either the developer or the environment. Or there is a scenario in which we choose the isolation. For what it concerns the serializable, it is a very common isolation level in the www environment, in the web environment, where we see actually transactions being executed in a serial mode, in let's say in a FIFO mode, first in, first out, to avoid inferences. I'll stop at this level. We'll continue next class, inshallah. For now, if you have any questions, please ask now. Otherwise, if you hear your name, say yes. I'll take the attendance.